It's the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light. I would like to pray for the little flock, those of you who belong to the Father and that are beloved of the Father. I want to pray for you members of the little flock that may be little known. Maybe even you may feel as though you're forgotten. I want to pray especially for you, that Abba Yah comfort you today. And maybe in your aloneness or your despair, your anguish or your sorrow that you may be in, I ask that Abba grant you relief, that He grant you a proper companionship and a friend in your life. Someone who cares and understands and shows empathy and understanding. Someone you can fellowship with. Two is better than one. So I ask that Abba Yah grant you His grace. To the members of the little flock that are in the prison houses, some of you wrongfully, some of you because of your own sin, but it's okay. We know that it is not a place where one wants to be, regardless of what he may or may not have done. And because of that, your Father has shown compassion unto you as well. He wants you to lift up your head, you who are in the prison houses. Lift up your heads. He understands, He knows. Talk to Him, He says. Come to Him and give Him your burdens and the pain that a man or a woman feels when they're stripped away from their family and their children and forced into an unnatural, barbaric circumstance. Abba Yah knows your tears, your pain. And I ask that He grant you all vindication. That He grant you justice and fairness and equity. And that whatever you have done, that you don't suffer more than what is necessary. Not more than what is necessary. And I ask that Abba grant you grace, that they don't put on you more than you can bear, but that you be able to bear it, and it work patience in you. And you let your light shine brighter because of it. And you tell your stories and your testimonies when Abba sets you free and makes your pathway straight again. And when He sets you free, don't return back to the mire. I know this beast. He wants to harm you and sift you, and he wants you to become afraid and to feel like you have to do those things. But let Abba Yah now be your stay. Let Him be your staff. And gird yourself and stand on that water with Him. And let your faith carry you through. No longer this system that only seeks to destroy you and trick you, and snare you in a snare upside down, laying a bait there for you. When I know it's hard, when you have to feed your families, I know it's hard. Abba knows it's hard. When you have to feed your family, your children, because of the societal pressure of being a deadbeat father, and you will not have that be so of you. That pressure. So maybe you took that risk you wouldn't have normally have taken. When you have that woman you love and you feel like if you don't have anything to put in her hand or on her table that she'll leave you. But Abba knows that that's a form of self-sacrifice that you've made. And Abba will always honor self-sacrifice, brothers and sisters. He always will. So I want to say that he hasn't forgotten you. You members of the little flock that are sick and shut in and afflicted with an illness, maybe by yourself in a room right now, I pray that Abba allows you to hear this message and grant you the hope and the faith and the love that you need to carry on into the end and to not give up, because maybe men have turned their back on you, and because now that you're sick and shut in, those people that you thought loved you, they're nowhere to be found, nor do they offer a helping hand. But I want you to know that so that you can turn your face to your Father and return into his bosom and fall upon his throne of grace. You can shed your tears there. You can share your frustrations there. You see, because one of the things about being wrong and falling short of the glory of God is it's frustrating for us. We want to do everything to please our Father, but sometimes we fall short. And that's very frustrating. Well, tell the Father how frustrating it is for you. You don't have to be ashamed or sad. Tell him how you feel. And I ask that Abba sends his healing angel, Raphael, to you today to grant you healing each day in a perfect way as you need it. And may his grace be sufficient for you, and may he restore you to perfect balance in your life and perfect harmony within, and that dis-ease in your body be removed right now in the name of divine love and divine truth. For it is the Abba's will that we all come to him and receive healing. Come to his waters and we will never thirst, he said. And so I say to you who are sick and shut in that you don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. And don't put your trust in the voice of a man who has told you when you will die or how long you have or anything like that. For these things be in the hand of the Father. And so it's his will and not our own will, but his will. And his perfect will for us is that we have life and have life everlasting. So there's no dis-ease in the Father's care. It's only health. So those are the little flock that have been in relationships with a disagreeable person. A person that you do everything that you can, as best as you can, to remain kind and patient, and they're just like a bull at a rodeo. You know, when the cowboy gets on his back and he has to grab that rope and his adrenaline kicks up and that bull is going to go crazy as soon as he's let out the pen. Well, that's how you have felt in the relationships that you've been in. And remember, the Father always will honor self-sacrifice. And if you have done so for the sake of your children or for the sake of trying to make the best, make peace, Abba knows that. And he will indeed honor you, for you reap what you sow. And it will be a joy you can't understand when you actually receive a person into your life that gives you as you give them. It's a reciprocal relationship. It will be a joy to you. And remember, these things only come from faith, hope, and love for the Father. hoping his promises for you are indeed true, having faith and believing in the substance of the thing hoped for, the evidence not seen, and having love for the Father and keeping his commandments as we wait for the manifestations of the things that we hope for. And Abba Yah knows you of the little flock that have been in those relationships with a wolf. And they seek to devour you and tear you, and you pray for them. You're patient with them. But Abba Yah is going to give you a new thing, and he's going to create in you a new thing, if you would have it be so, and be willing to let go of the old, which is fear. You see, letting go of someone is not a fear-based act. It is a love-based act. I'll give you an example. Remember the son, where he said, give me the prodigal son, where he said, give me my inheritance now and let me go and have some fun, pretty much. Did the father say, no, I'm not giving it to you because that ain't going to be what's best for you? Is that what he said? No, he gave it to him, didn't he? And he let him learn his lesson on his own. So that was love that allowed him to leave, and faith, hope, and love that his son would come back into his bosom again. That took faith, didn't it? That took hope, didn't it? And it most definitely took love, didn't it? So do you see how the Father has done for us? How no matter how far we've gone astray, and we all have, little flock, each and every one of us has found ourselves in a trap or a snare of one kind or another, that Abba Yah will receive you back into his loving embrace, no matter how far you have fallen. You see, just like the prodigal son who went away, he returned to the Father. The Father received him again. And if you have faith, hope, and love in that today, then return to the Father. And let him restore you and give balance to your life again. In I am, in his name, in truth. No longer in fear, but in love now. You see? So yes, in relationships, a lot of people say, well, hanging on to it shows that you love. That shows that you fear. Just like if that father has said, no, son, I'm not going to do that because you'll go out there and waste your inheritance and destroy yourself. That's fear. Love says, go ahead, son. I know that you will return. And you'll be better when you return. Yes, it's going to be suffering and some tears shed. But the rejoicing the Father had when he received his son again is not to be even tabulated with the negative that went down, is it? Okay. So the same goes for you all. The joy that you will receive after going through the hardship that you have gone through, and the snare that had lifted you upside down and had you trapped and shook you and shook all of the money out your pockets, shook all of the pride out of your heart. It shook all of the things that weigh you down, honestly. It shook all the fear out of you. You see? The snare only works if it traps the prey until the fowler gets there and then kills and eats. The snare is very beneficial to the one caught in it if he's freed from it before the fowler can get him. And that is us. And so we have the benefit of knowing what it's like to hang in that snare. To be enticed to put our foot in that ring and get snatched upside down. Now we know. So was it better to never know and to assume, or to now know and be freed? Okay then, so let's not step our foot in any more snares. You see, let's set ourselves free. Sever the ties that hold us and the lower passions that weigh us down. Let's separate ourselves from those things today and accept love into our life. Restore love into our life, and remember that the greatest commandment that we were given was to love one another, little flock. That's the most important thing that we do today. And when we fall, we confess and we get back up and we love again. and we endure in loving until this race is over with. That's the key. So all of you children who have found yourself in disagreeable relationships with your parents or guardians or whoever that has custody of you, and you find yourself in their possession, and it is causing you stress and turmoil and pain, and you want to be rebellious and fight back, it's because you were given a seed of love placed in your heart to endure such a thing so that you can vibrate love back in return from your heart. And yes, that is a hard thing to bear at times. And that's why your master reminded you not to be marveling if they hate you. See, if you weren't a child of love, you wouldn't be even receiving this message. You wouldn't receive these things. But it's because you are a child of love that you're able to understand what I'm telling you about being in these disagreeable relationships, these unholy unions with people, you see, that must be separated so that the bloodlines can finally be free. The families of Israel can finally be free from their captivity. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can finally be free from the captivity that you have found yourself in. You see? We'll all be set free when we are perfected in our love for Father and for one another. We will all be set free in that very moment that we do that. So let us take each other's hands now and decide for ourselves as the little flock, wherever we may be. If you're in that sick bed, rise from that sick bed and stand up and walk today. Have faith in your Father today. Believe His words in your life today and have faith in them. Stretch out your arms and stretch forth your legs and dance before your Father today. Dance before Him and sing praises before Him today for His liberation, for His coming for us. It was only done that we be perfected in our love for one another and learn how to pray for one another. To be intercessors for one another in our shortcomings. You see? Releasing ourselves from judgment, releasing ourselves from criticism, releasing ourselves from skepticism, releasing ourselves from isms, period. You see? Accepting our part in this breath that has been breathed, called life. Accepting our inhalation and exhalation of our moment right now that we were given to do. And I'm sure it wasn't given to us to kill, to steal, to harm, or destroy. I'm sure it wasn't. Not this moment that we... moment that we do that. Let us not take it in vain. We must know inside of ourselves that we weren't put here for that role, but to take that breath in truth and to breathe that oxygen through our body and cleanse our blood when it boils and when it rises up in adrenaline and fear and fight or flight. We breathe that breath of life over those waters, and peace be still within ourselves. Peace be still. And calm that storm within ourselves so that we may think right. Return to our austerity of knowing who we were before we came here. For it is written of us, little flock, that we were known in heaven before we were ever sent here. So let not our ages be any disguises. Let not our skin tones be any disguises. Let not our hair textures be any disguises anymore. Take our disguises off today, little flock. Take off that disguise that was put on you to hide your light. Whatever it may be, take it off today. Take the woolly hair off. Take the blonde hair off. Take the blue eyes off. Take the brown eyes off. Take it off. And let us wear our coat of many colors today, little flock. And shine our lights so bright that it's undeniable that His love surpasses skin tone. That His love surpasses outward appearance. And it is beautiful in our eyes that He has done so. And that He has scattered us to the four corners. And has selected us out of all nations and peoples and tongues and languages. How did you do that, Father? Because He is great. Because I am almighty, He said. And it is true. It's indeed true. We bear witness today, do we not? That his love surpasses all understanding of man. It is beyond the mind of a man to love. It comes from somewhere higher than a flesh and blood body. For a flesh and blood body only seeks to eat. It only seeks to fulfill its own pleasure. And you have some around you who have decided to let that thing rule them. Well, we know that's the beast. The beast wants to eat. And it will kill and steal to give itself the comforts that it desires. Ultimately, so that it can live. Your body, the flesh, it wants to live. And so it inquires of these things constantly to you. Give me food, or I'll steal to have it. Look at his request. Give me that money or I'll kill to have it. Give me. It's like the Little Shop of Horrors. And for all of you who don't know, look it up and see. That little stage player or whatever it was. The Little Shop of Horrors. And he had that plant. And it was a little plant at first. And it wanted a single drop of blood. But eventually that plant grew. And it required more blood so that it could grow and grow and grow and never stop growing. And then he grew so large, he started to devour people whole to feed himself. That little blood coming out of his little finger, Seymour's finger, it wasn't enough for that plant after a while, was it? And so what? What did he have to do? He had to kill it. He had to destroy it. And we all, little flock, must do that now. We must starve the beast of his lower passions and do all that we must be able to do to stand. In this hour, stand, little flock, on that water. Thank you, Father, for letting me see your little lambs standing on that water. Wow. Do all that you can, little lambs, to stand. And you will indeed find him standing next to you. Who? The one who taught you how to stand on that water. He who saves is his name. And whenever you find yourself slipping, we all do out of our fear at times, he will reach out his hand and he will pull you back up on that water. And while you're standing on that water, he will bless you and move through you and act through you to reach out and extend your hand to your brother who's sinking and grab his hand and pull him back up, standing next to you again. And in that, we marvel at our Father, at his handiwork, of his compassion and his love for his family to do such a thing, to come down on that water himself, to stand with his children and to hold them up in their hour of need. What love! Who good but our Father? Who good but Abba, y'all? So I want to commend you all for standing in hard circumstances. And your circumstances is water you're standing on, which is a very precarious substance to stand upon, isn't it? Okay then. So we know that your circumstances are always precarious. And that's why all of you that we're speaking to today in this prayer, that your circumstances be made peace and calm on those waters you're standing on today. Father, let that be so for the little flock. Have compassion on your little flock, Father. For it is dark on that water, and there are beasts swimming under that water, under our feet, and we look down and we see it sometimes and we get afraid. Have compassion on your little lambs. We're just lambs. We are. We're just little lambs. We need our shepherd always. So we thank you for your loving kindness and tenderness toward us who seek to stand on the water with you. Empower us. Strengthen us on a solid foundation. Make that water as a solid foundation under our feet, Father. Make it a sure foundation and make it just as concrete under our feet. Make our confidence when we step out of our bed onto our wood floor, onto our cement floor, onto whatever floor we stand on with great faith, hope, and love when we do it. Let us have that same confidence when we walk upon this water, Father. Grant us that. Grant us the confidence of Yahusha in this hour. Grant us his confidence. Grant us his strength. Grant us oneness. Let these things be so, Father, if it be your will. Have mercy on us and our infirmities, and let them be your glory, our shortcomings. Let them work in us for your glory. Let us give glory to you for triumphing over her hard circumstance. For if there were never a hard circumstance, or in other words, an obstacle, there would be nothing to triumph over and glory in. So cause us to triumph, Father, so that you may glory. To the little flock, you are loved. Everything that I say, you say I am and affirm it afterwards. You are loved. You have received mercy. Let me say that better for you. You are receiving mercy. You are receiving grace. You are receiving truth. You are basking in his holy light. You are finding great pleasure in the presence of Abba Yah. You are resting in the bosom of Yahusha, in the bosom of the Father. You have made your abode with the Father. You are walking on set-apart ground. Be blessed today, little flock in the highest. Shalom, Israel.